run, how you can help this morning. And here's a live look outside with some showers already spotted across South Florida. A look at what we can expect in the coming days. All right, hi South Florida. Thank you for watching NBC6 News Now. I'm Constance Jones. We begin things off with a look at that forecast. Meteorologist Adam Burke standing by with more.
And let's kind of break down these rain chances because we're going to be moving these up now. So 50 to 60 to 70% just changed Friday to 60. I expect more and more instability and more neighborhoods getting involved with some of these showers and thunderstorms. These will mostly be afternoon variety, though, all the way through the holiday weekend. Oh, look at that. Just updated because I just plugged in the new number. The system was like, all right, let me get a little taller here. But anyway, you get the idea. 50, 60, then 70% as we go into the weekend. We sit south of this front, and we're going to, generally speaking, have this kind of front just like undulate a little bit north, a little bit south, but basically stay north of us. We sit south of it, and that's where all the juice is to work with. Showers and thunderstorms are going to be popping as we go into the weekend. A little bit of a dip in the jet stream too, as well, adds a little more lift and adds a little more moisture, and this is why the coverage is going to start increasing for today and really even into the weekend, early next week. Not an organized severe threat per se, but thunderstorms in South Florida, I always say this, can be quite impactful, right? Frequent lightning, you can get some isolated flooding. So even though not necessarily organized severe angle, it doesn't mean that these thunderstorms can't be impactful, right? And they certainly will be. Now, a little better chance of that organized severe angle to storms in Dallas, Oklahoma City, Denver. If you're using any of these airports today, there could be a couple of slowdowns here as we go into the afternoon and evening hours. Hey, as far as the tropics go, we are done with Fernan in the North Atlantic. Final advisory written on that one. Now we turn our attention to the Eastern Atlantic here. Nothing going on now in this yellow area. But over the coming days, we'll see some storms come off the coast of Africa, and maybe we get some development out here. But this is the far Eastern Atlantic. No impact to the U.S. anytime soon, if ever, with that system. It's very rare for a system to form in the Eastern Atlantic and then make it all the way over the Atlantic to us. Low probability anyway. So here we sit, the blinking blue line. We've got a lot of activity to get through still, as far as climatology goes. So this is an average over a bunch of years here, and typically September is the busiest month for tropical storms in red and hurricanes in yellow. And even portions of October can be busier than a good chunk of August. So we've got to get through September, I'd say the first half of October, and then statistically speaking, things tend to calm down a bit. All right, let's talk future tracker here for today. We've seen some of these spotty morning showers. We're not going to see too much action here. Nothing to really disrupt your morning drive. But the afternoon storms will be there, and some of these are going to try to make it to the East Coast as we go through the late afternoon and early evening. Then into Friday, I think this kind of is the transition day where we start seeing more and more coverage of storms. Still pretty dry through midday, but the scattered showers and thunderstorms, I think, will affect more and more communities as we go into Friday. And then we'll see that trend even continuing more into the weekend. So we go 50, 60, 70% coverage. Again, mostly, though, second half of the day, so your mornings salvageable.
All right, Adam, thank you so much. Now to your top stories this morning. The Minneapolis community gathering in prayer last night to remember the victims of the mass shooting at the Annunciation Catholic Church that claimed the lives of 2 children and injured 17 others. And this morning, police and federal agents continue to search for evidence and answers. Government officials and religious leaders there are demanding change. Let's start with what we know this morning. The lone shooter fired dozens of shots through a stained glass window, several windows, at a Catholic church yesterday morning as students from the Annunciation Catholic School gathered for a back-to-school mass. 2 children, ages 8 and 10, were killed. 17 others were wounded, including 14 children and 3 elderly parishioners. 4 patients have since been released from the hospital, but it's not clear how the other patients are doing this morning. Now, police have now identified the shooter as 23-year-old Robin Westman, who died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. A student at the school described the moment that his friend protected him from the gunfire.
The first one, I was like, what is that? I thought it was just something. Then when I heard it again, I just ran under the pew. And then I covered my head. My friend saved me though, because he laid on top of me, but he got hit.
Your friend laid on top of you?
Yeah, and he got hit.
Well, the FBI has identified the shooter as male, but legal documents requesting a name change say they identify as female. Officials say the 3 weapons used in the shooting were all purchased recently and legally. And now the Minneapolis mayor is demanding leaders take action.
I think the impetus has to be on all of us as leaders to do a whole lot more, to recognize that we've got more guns in this country than we have people.
Well, the FBI director says the shooting will be investigated as an act of domestic terrorism and a hate crime targeting Catholics. As the city of Minneapolis and the country search for answers, here at home, community leaders are reacting to this tragedy. NBC6's Brianna Nesbro joins us with more on those responses. Brianna.
Well, in Miami-Dade County, the sheriff's office was quick to reassure the community that it's working hand in hand with faith leaders to ensure places of worship are protected. Miami-Dade Sheriff Rosie Cordero Stutz issued a statement saying in part, "As a precautionary measure, I've increased patrols at places of worship throughout our county. We will continue working closely with faith leaders to provide visible protection and respond swiftly should the need arise." Archbishop Thomas Wensky, leader of the Archdiocese of Miami, also issued a statement saying, "This tragic and senseless mass shooting on Wednesday, August 27th has brought grief to all the nation. But before the grief of those families who mourn the loss of a child and those children and adults injured, words are inadequate. We can only turn to Christ and to his mother Mary, who stood at the foot of her son's cross. May her prayers comfort all those who mourn and strengthen the resiliency of all the survivors." Catholic schools across South Florida are also speaking out about the tragic event. St. Andrew's Catholic School in Coral Springs saying in part, "We pray for the peaceful repose of those who were killed and the consolation of their grieving loved ones." Now, the Archdiocese of Miami also said that the safety of all children at its Catholic schools is always a top priority and that they have numerous safety procedures in place. Constance.
All right, Brianna, thank you. Florida Congressman and former mayor of Miami-Dade County, Carlos Jimenez, also reacting to the shooting on X, saying that this tragedy is heartbreaking and that everyone involved is in his prayers. He went on to say that the nation must come together to confront this senseless act of violence. Meantime, the current mayor of Miami-Dade County, Daniela Levine Cava, also reacting to the news on X, holding a similar sentiment as Jimenez. She says the tragedy has left her heartbroken, also offering prayers for those involved as well as the city of Minneapolis. We're going to continue to bring you the very latest on this tragedy, both on air and also across our digital platforms. In our next half hour of news, Jay Gray is going to be joining us from Minneapolis with a closer look at the suspected shooter's history. Well, in other news, a federal judge has rejected a request by the Trump administration and the state of Florida to keep the so-called alligator Alcatraz open as they appeal an order to shut down that facility. Last week, the judge issued the ruling calling for the shutdown of the operations at the detention center within 60 days. The order was in response to a lawsuit questioning the environmental impact of that facility that was constructed within the past 2 months. Now, yesterday, we also learned a top Florida official sent an email indicating that the detention facility will likely be open in the coming days. An email from the director of Florida's Division of Emergency Management was sent to a rabbi who requested access to that facility.
You left. Why? I just want to know why. You wouldn't want somebody to do your family like this.
Only on 6, a family now seeking justice for a man killed in a hit and run in Northwest Miami-Dade. Detectives say Gregory Hughes, he was riding his bike when a driver hit him and then just kept going.
Deputies here at the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office have been examining surveillance video from various angles, but still no arrest. Tatiana Solomon put flowers at the spot where a driver hit her uncle and left him to die. Surveillance video shows him leaving a gas station on a bicycle Monday night around 11:25 on Northwest 103rd Street near 12th Avenue. We've paused the video before the moment a car struck him and did not stop. Solomon remembers her uncle Gregory Hughes as loving and a hard worker.
How could you hit somebody? And I know you heard you hit him. You could have stopped even if you didn't have no license, if you had no car insurance. If that was your mama, you would want somebody to stop for you.
Solomon said her family is hurting. Her message to the driver: turn yourself in. Now, if you know something that could help detectives track down this driver, you can call Miami-Dade Crime Stoppers. That number's 305-471-TIPS. In Doral, Julia Bagg, NBC6 News.
Well, a South Florida man's behind bars this morning following the death of his wife, who was found unresponsive in a canal. Jeffrey Evans is not currently charged in the death of Jessica Lloyd, but he is charged with another crime. Police determined the couple had been involved in a domestic violence incident on Monday, hours before Lloyd was found floating in a canal in Coral Springs. She later died at the hospital. Evans is charged with 1 count of domestic violence, simple battery. His wife's death is still under investigation. Also this morning, we're learning more after a woman was shot in West Miami-Dade in an apartment complex there. Deputies say the gunman died after a shootout with officers on Tuesday. The woman's parents says that the suspect was her ex-partner and that he had threatened them, even holding them at gunpoint. Surveillance video captures SWAT team members carrying out the injured woman. We do know that the woman made it through surgery and she's now recovering in the hospital. All right, a recall alert this morning. If you drive a Ford and have some issues with your display, you're not alone. In fact, the auto company put a recall out for over 355,000 of their vehicles following reports of the panel issues failing to turn on. This is where you can get information on how fast it's going on those panel displays. Well, the issue has impacted a number of their Super Duty trucks, including the F-150. If you have this problem, Ford is offering a free software update to help fix this issue. All right, you guys, thanks for watching NBC6 News Now. I'm Constance Jones.
Thank you for watching NBC6 South Florida News. Please help us improve this channel by taking a few minutes to fill out this survey. Grab your phone and scan the QR code on the screen. Your input will help us deliver more of what you want to see on NBC6 South Florida News. A few minutes of your time is all it takes. We look forward to hearing your feedback. Thanks for watching NBC6 South Florida News.
A positive life is filled with kindness and love. It's about making the world a better place. Some South Floridians are stepping up with positivity, giving their hearts and hands to animals in need. Do you know someone like this? Nominate